They're coming off their biggest win in franchise history. 12 free agents signed this summer and a trade for the reigning Rookie of the Year. What does it all mean? Find out next as the Major Arena Soccer League presents the Florida Tropics as they host the Orlando SeaWolves.
And
Funding Center, thanks for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with us here in Lakeland, Florida, as we get ready for MASL action between Florida and Seattle. This league has been around since 2008, 17 teams in it, and joined by our color commentator for this season, Robbie Aristodamo, no stranger to the MASL. He's played in 289 career arena games, won 3 championships with the Baltimore Blast. It's a fast and furious game, Robbie. 15-minute quarters, a lot like hockey, you can change on the fly.
Fantastic game. Fans are going to be for a real treat tonight. I expect a fantastic game. Speed of play is going to be high energy, and I think the viewers on TV are going to be up for a fantastic game.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Now, like hockey, there are 2-minute penalties. That will be a blue card shown by the referee, and there can be a delayed blue card, just like in hockey, as long as the team not being penalized still has possession of the ball. There are yellow cards. Those are 5 minutes in the box for individual players. Teams do not play shorthanded when they get a yellow card, and of course a red card means an ejection. We'll set up the game scene here tonight in Lakeland when we return. This is Florida Tropics Soccer on Great 38.
go ahead.
And the Florida Tropics being introduced to the home folks here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland. And indeed, we do need a scorecard to know who the Tropics are this year. A completely revamped roster after a disappointing 2018-19 season, which saw the Tropics win just 6 of their 24 games. A lot of that had to do with injury. The team had injuries right from the get-go at the start of the season, and they just got worse as the game went on. And so only 6 wins, and the decision was made in the offseason, Robbie, to go out and really collect a lot of talent. Literally, almost all the top free agents in the MASL this summer came here to Florida. You start with Gordy Gerson, who played with Orlando last year, was 4th in the league in total points. Zach Reggett, who has already made his presence as the current MASL Player of the Week. He was the Rookie of the Year in St. Louis last year. Came to Florida via a trade, but storyline tonight is in goal for Florida because Brett Petracek will be getting the start. No Hugo Silva. He is injured. The good news is his injury is not as bad as first feared, and may be just a matter of weeks before Hugo Silva is back between the pipes. But Brett Petracek was not playing a game since the middle of last season when he was with Kansas City. Got called this week and comes down from Chicago and will start in goal tonight. Now, later in your career, Robbie, you were a guy who would play and then wouldn't play a few games and then would come in and play. What you played in the game since the middle of last season?
Yeah, that's a good question, Brian. I think it's going to be difficult. First quarter jitters. Let's see the Tropics in the first quarter. A few goals, settle in with the defenders, learn the system and the style of play. But I think it's going to take a good 15 minutes for Brett to get adjusted to the speed and the tempo of the game.
Yeah. In the Chicago area, in some of the amateur leagues up there, and some of the best amateur soccer in the entire United States is in Chicago. So Petracek has been playing. He just has not been playing at the MASL level. And if you're looking for a comparable, Brett Petracek is Hugo Silva really on the stat sheet. In fact, Petracek has a better one-loss record in his career, 22-16 in 40 career MASL games. But you look at the goals against average, Hugo Silva's career goals against is 628. Brett Petracek's career goals against is 631. And the save percentage is almost identical as well, 680 for Petracek and 684 for Hugo Silva. So it's not like Brett Petracek doesn't know what he's doing in there. It's just a matter of getting the timing back.
No, that's exactly right. Kind of understanding the defenders that's playing in front of him, getting a rhythm and a flow of the game. But certainly he's a capable keeper. I think Clay Roberts brought him in knowing that he surely can come in and do a job.
Just introducing Matt Clare there on the floor here in Lakeland, and he has been, I don't want to say a pleasant surprise, because he really for a long time has been one of the premier players in this league, had a great 3-year run in San Diego. Here comes Brett Petracek through the youth tunnel here to the applause of this big crowd at the RP Funding Center. This is the home opener for the Florida Tropics, who have already been historic in their first 3 games. They only won once on the road all last season, so they are already well ahead of the game. They are 3-0. They have never started the season better than 1-0. In fact, it's kind of unusual. In 4 years, they have won every single season opener, and then before this year, they had gone on and lost every second game they had played. So the 3-0 start is historic, and we referenced at the top of the broadcast, Robbie, that incredible win Saturday up in Milwaukee over the defending MASL champion Milwaukee Wave in overtime. First overtime game that the Tropics have ever won in their history. First time they have ever beaten Milwaukee in their history. What kind of a confidence boost does that give this club to go into a place like Milwaukee in their home opener, their banner raising for their championship? They got their rings. You go onto their turf and come out with a 5-4 win. What does that do for this Tropics team?
Well, I think it's massive for the Tropics and Clay Roberts. It gives them a tremendous amount of confidence. It's a fantastic result on the road. One of the most difficult arenas to play in all of my career, playing against Wave, Keith Tozer, the legendary coach. Very difficult to play, so credit to the Tropics. I think they're going to be firing on all cylinders in terms of the confidence.
Looking at some of the highlights from that game, that's Rafa Alves, who has had a very good start getting that cleanup goal to make it 2-2, and it really was an impressive effort. The thing about the win to me was it wasn't lucky, it wasn't like it wasn't deserved. The Tropics outplayed the Wave. Here's Zach Regette's goal, one of them that made him the player of the week. And the nice thing about that goal, like a shooter in basketball, he just didn't stand there and admire his first shot. He went to the net to get his own rebound and score, and that made it 3-3. And then here's the big one by Ricardo Carvalho in the fourth quarter on the rebound of a great shot by Victor Pereras, and Carvalho made it a 4-4 game midway through the fourth quarter, and the Tropics really controlled play for much of the fourth quarter, and then they went to overtime, and the play that'll simply be known as Guy's goal, but it was Ricardinho Sobrero with a perfect pass through the box, and Guilherme dos Santos, he goes by Guilherme with a great back post redirect, but what about that pass by Ricardinho?
Well, Ricardinho, again, former Wave player, so he's got to feel pretty good about himself for supplying the game-winning assist, but that's a fantastic threaded through ball to Guy.
All right, well, we will be back with the opening kickoff in just a couple of minutes. The Florida Tropics, as they host the Orlando SeaWolves on MASL Soccer on Great 38. Back here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland as we get ready for MASL indoor soccer action. But before the kickoff here tonight, we're going to celebrate the Tropics United Premier Soccer League championship this past summer, the first national championship in Tropics history, a perfect 18-0 season, winning the championship down in Weatherford, Texas on a couple of amazing plays, one by the Tropics team captain, Victor Pereras, who scored in stoppage time in the semifinals, an amazing goal, beat two defenders near the top of the box and rocketed one in to tie the game. Lucas Monaleros was the outdoor captain, actually got the game winner in the semifinal and converted the winning penalty kick in the championship game. So the UPSL Tropics 18-0 season being celebrated. They had a very indoor flavor. Hugo Silva was the goaltender for all 18 games. Lucas Teixeira, one of the key defenders for the indoor Tropics, who is the all-time career leader in shots blocked, was the coach. He's never lost, Robbie. That's not bad as a coach, right?
Yeah, you're right. Fantastic for a first-year coach. Credit to him. He did a great job.
It was a very exciting season out at Lake Myrtle Sports Park as kicked off May 7th with Polk County hosting its first ever U.S. Open Cup. And the banner will, well, they're going to have a little trouble getting it unveiled, apparently, because I'm sure it looks a lot nicer than the shiny black vinyl that's over it. But, hey, the best laid plans, right? Exactly. So we will tell you that there's a shiny banner behind there celebrating the UPSL championship season, and the Tropics hope that, of course, is just the first of many to come. Let's turn our attention back to the game here tonight, Robbie. A lot of new faces for the Tropics. Gordy Gerson, we mentioned in the opener, had 58 points for the Orlando SeaWolves last week. Oh, there they go. There they go. It's finally coming on. There it is. All right. I told you it would look good.
Beautiful.
The first of what Tropics fans hope are many to come here in Lakeland, Florida. So Gordy Gerson back in the lineup tonight for the Tropics. That's big. He did play November 22nd in the season opener over in Orlando. The Tropics won that one by a 3-2 count. He sat out the next two, had a bit of a foot injury, but is back in the lineup tonight. No Rob Acosta tonight. He was the Defender of the Year in the MASL just 2 seasons ago. He is probably could have played tonight had they needed him, but they want to make sure he's very good and ready to go next Saturday when the Baltimore Blast visit, and then again on Saturday, December 28th, when Milwaukee is in town for the rematch. Of course, all those games live on Great 38 as well, 5 o'clock on WTTA. And we welcome fans from coast to coast and around the world on MASL.TV as well. They, I know, will enjoy the 5 o'clock starts because that'll give them an opportunity to watch more indoor soccer this weekend. So Gordy Gerson back in the lineup tonight. No Hugo Silva, though. Brett Petracek in goal for the Florida Tropics. 3-0, and they are only one of 3 undefeated teams in the entire MASL still, and they are in first place in the Eastern Conference. Both teams have been impacted with their lineups a bit because of visa issues, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we move along in this contest. Here's the ball into the Florida end of the field, and Yoshio Sandoval will pick it up. Alvarez with it now for the SeaWolves, being watched in there by Victor Pereira. And Alvarez will take it back at the midfield line. So we mentioned indoor soccer played in 4 quarters, 15 minutes a quarters, running clock while the ball is in play. And very often lots of goals, lots of action. It gets a little chaotic, a little frenzied, but that's all the excitement of the indoor game. And that long ball into the Florida end of the field goes out of play.
That was a nice sustained possession for the SeaWolves, moving around, a little 3-man weave, keeping some possession, making a few line changes as well. So it's a good start for the SeaWolves. Conversely, defensively for the Tropics, it was easy pickings for them, just shifting, pressure cover. Good start for both teams.
Yeah, Orlando will want to play this game at a slower pace, you would think. Take the air out of the ball, to use a basketball analogy. A lot of basketball strategy in this sport. Here come the Tropics trying to counter, and Stephen DeRue has it knocked off his foot and out of play by Rodolfo Lopes.
And I think if there's any indication, they're already pressing the newly acquired keeper. Rightfully so. He's brand new to the team.
Yeah, you certainly would like to test Petracek out as often as possible early on until he gets his sea legs a little bit. Here's Monaleris playing it up to Gerson now. Gerson trying to get it through to Reggett, and that pass was intercepted. Mike Da Silva, the big forward, number 24, one of the better young players on the Orlando roster this season, has a couple of goals. Their leading point getter, though, is a defender, Richard Schmerman, who has 2 goals and 2 assists. And pressure now by Gerson on Peter Sliwa. He gets it out of here, and here's a good counter chance for Orlando. Here's a shot off the boards in front. Reggett trying to get back. Good defensive play in there by Cabrera. Ricardinho, who had that great assist in overtime, makes a good defensive play in the box. Alvarez with it. Out now to Eduardo Cruz. Trying to figure out who's going to score is really one of Orlando's biggest challenges. They have lost a lot of offensive punch, starting with Gerson signing with Florida, but their 2 other leading scorers from last season, neither are able to dress because of visa issues. Here's a long shot. Petracek tested early, makes a good save.
Well, it's a great start for the SeaWolves, sustaining some possession, good movement off the ball, finding their target forward as much as possible, and testing Petracek early days here.
Yep, they had a 3-on-2 situation there for just a minute. And Ricardinho made that block inside the box. Corner kick now for the SeaWolves. Here's a chance, and Petrusek gets a leg on that one. Reggett battling with Alvarez. And the SeaWolves will retain possession. Top of the box, it's Tapia with it. Unable to find any help, and Petrusek covers up. Pretty easy play that time for Petrusek.
Well, you've got your third line in here right now. See Matt Clare coming in the midfield line, getting a sniff of the ball.
Of course, the good news for the Tropics is their third line is just about as good as anybody's first line in the game.
Well, that's the key. If your goal is to win a championship, you've got to have depth. And right now, this year, the Tropics are as good as it gets in terms of their depth.
Yeah, and that was the problem last year with the injuries. There just wasn't enough reinforcements to play at a level that the Tropics were expecting to play at last year. Here comes Steven DeRue, who had a great game in Milwaukee last week, but he loses it, and Orlando again with a counter opportunity. Off the boards, and Petrusek will have a little trouble collecting that, but he does manage to control it. Here's Lucas Teixeira, coach of the UPSL Outdoor Championship team. The good news for Hugo Silva is the groin injury that he sustained, and remarkably, he actually hurt himself in the preseason, talking to him before the game tonight. Here's Zach Reggett ahead of the field, now picked up there by Tapia. Reggett gets by one, tries to get it in front of the box, and Peter Sliwa, who is no stranger to Tropics fans, will cover up, and we've got an injury on the field. Had a car accident or have a personal injury, then look to Brooks, the official injury attorneys of the Florida Tropics. Go to brookslawgroup.com or call 1-800-LAW-3030 for more information.
Difficult to see what exactly happened.
Yeah, it was kind of away from the play, and Sliwa picked it up, and I'm not even sure who the injured player is. The SeaWolves don't have a lot of depth, as we know. So we'll have to wait along with the rest of us and see. So let's talk a little bit about this roster, Robbie. When we talked about Gordy Gerson, but Zach Reggett, who just about had a scoring chance there. I am so impressed with him, with his work ethic, with his skill, with his mindset. He's not a star in the making, in my opinion. He's a superstar in the making. He earned it last year as a Rookie of the Year, and already out of the gate with 3 goals this year, including 2 really big ones in that second game in Orlando that the Tropics won 8-3. They were down 3-2 in the first half, and Zach scored 2 late in the second quarter to really totally turn the momentum of that game around. The Tropics went on to win it 8-5, and Zach Reggett is, I think, going to be a star in this league.
No, I think you're spot on. I mean, he's a perfect forward. He's got a great body, holds up the ball well. He's got a knack for the goal, and more than anything, he works hard defensively, which you love to see in your target forwards.
Yeah, and that was one of the things in this offseason when the Tropics overhauled their roster, was they wanted guys to work hard at both ends of the floor. Here's a chance, and again, good save by Petrusek as Luis Mota let that one fly. So Petrusek with a couple of good saves early.
Well, I think that's going to help him ease his way into this game, getting some confidence early on. But right now, the Tropics, credit to the SeaWolves, they're breaking the Tropics' pressure and creating some 2v1, 3v2 opportunities.
And not only will that help in the confidence department for Petrusek, but the guys in front of him as well. Again, a counter opportunity as Carvalho loses it, but it's a 1-on-3. But here's a run by Huffman. Good play by Petrusek as he came out of his box and knocked it away from number 9, Derek Huffman.
I'll tell you what, he's come up big right now. Great signing last minute from Clay Roberts, and he's had to do some things early on. I'd like to see a little bit more from the Tropics in terms of possession, movement off the ball, and a little bit quicker speed of play.
Here's Mijatovic, nice ball through to Ricardinho. Ricardinho tried to get it off the boards, but good defensive work there by Eduardo Cruz, and the SeaWolves able to thwart that opportunity. The Tropics here 5.5 minutes in really haven't had a good shot on goal yet. Really have not created any opportunities. They've all belonged to the SeaWolves, kind of reminiscent of opening night November 22nd. Here's a takeaway by Tavernisi, but he will immediately give it right back to Tapia. And Carvalho will collect it for the Tropics. sends it to no one in particular, and Orlando will get a kick in.
Yeah, a little bit of a nervy start for the Tropics. Again, we talked about taking the air out of the ball a little bit, but for me, when you're playing at home, you don't need to take the air out of the ball. You need to get the intensity up, get the tempo up, get the fans involved in the game.
Yeah, very nice crowd here at the RP Funding Center tonight. Wouldn't be surprised. It's maybe the largest in franchise history. They had over 4,000 for their finale last year against Baltimore, which was the largest, as Gerson is going to be whistled for the foul. And this will be a dangerous restart opportunity here for the SeaWolves just outside the top of the penalty arc.
Yeah, lucky it wasn't a blue card as well, but I think when you're talking about some of the top teams in the MASL, set pieces like this one are critical in terms of championship caliber teams. All the best teams, the Wave, the Blast, are clinical on these sort of set pieces.
Sandoval going to be maybe the trigger man. We'll see. Schmerman is there. They've got Alvarez off to the left. So we'll see. It'll be Schmerman with a shot, and that one goes just wide of the far post. Alvarez will collect the rebound, gets around Alves. He takes the long shot well wide. Alvarez again gets it into the box, and Guilherme with the game winner against Milwaukee loses it. Here's a chance now on the right side. Sandoval off the boards in front. Tropics unable to get possession as Gerson tries to track it down, but Alvarez will control it for Orlando. Rafa Alves back to try and clean it up, but he bangs it off the board to no one in particular. Schmerman with a long shot, and Alves is able to step in front of that one as Orlando will want to change on the fly here. Long ball down into the left corner now, Alvarez. Back on top to Schmerman. Over on the right side to Yoshio Sandoval. Schmerman with it. Back to Sandoval. Possession and chances have definitely belonged to Orlando here in the first 7 minutes.
Well, you've got a mismatch right here as well. Antonio Manfoot covering the target forward for the SeaWolves. Big mismatch.
Orlando not able to take advantage of it at the moment. But there's the ball back in. Alves finally comes in to give some defensive help as that was Derek Huffman at about 6'2" on Antonio Manfoot, who's about, 5'4"?
Well, I'll tell you what, there's always some of those cross matches that do happen in the indoor game. I can remember back in the day, I was covering Booney. He was about 6'8". Sometimes on those cross matches, you don't like to see as a head coach, but luckily they were able to get out of that.
Yeah, Alves was able to come back and finally clean it up. Here's Daru playing it ahead to Manfoot. Manfoot off the boards, has a little space. Ooh, tried to get it through to Reggett, and a nice intercept by Cruz. De Silva will play it now back to his defender, Luis Mota. And back to Cruz at the midfield stripe, being watched by Manfoot. Through ball headed away. Matt Clare with it. Clare gets it ahead of the field to Reggett. Reggett in, shot saved by Silva. Best chance of the early going for the Tropics, and Peter Sliwa, who's so good with his feet, comes up with a good leg save there.
That was a good long ball from Matt Clare. Nice deft touch with his chest for Reggett. And also, yeah, you got the veteran Peter in goal with a nice kick save.
And you certainly know Peter well, having played with him here under the Tropics banners for a couple of seasons before he left and joined the SeaWolves. He's one of their assistant coaches as well.
Always composed with his feet. Good distributor, good communicator.
Really an underrated commodity for goaltending in this league, how good someone is with their feet, and Peter among the best. 6:28 to go, first quarter. We've got a timeout on the floor. Still no score. This is Florida Tropics Soccer on Great 38.
Fans, don't forget to stop by our sales table to enter to win a signed jersey and get your season ticket information.
Yeah, thanks.
To not miss a minute of the action for the rest of the season. Bob Clinic would like to thank
It's a lot like the first game. I mean, we're just not playing at a pace that's...
for their dedication to the Tropics athletes.
No, they're looking tired.
Yeah.
Just gotta get rhythm.
CPS Investment Advisors are your partner for your financial future. They have the expertise in
That's the whole quarter dictated by the SeaWolves.
taxes,
Yeah.
your retirement, or trust. Log on to cballiance.com or call them at 863-686-3600.
control the ball.
Yeah, really unusual start.
Let Your Upshot is a passion for embracing the upside of risk to elevate results. Celebrating 75 years in the community of elevating results, Let Your Upshot is your go-to for business or personal insurance needs. For more info, visit www.lemyourupshot.com.
Back underway here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, live with MASL soccer between the Florida Tropics and the Orlando SeaWolves. Scoreless, Orlando has had the better of the play, and they came in tonight 0-3. These two teams met November 22nd, the season opener in Kissimmee, and then met again on December 5th, the second game for both. And that was a very different script than the opening night, although Florida won both. It was just 3-2 in the opener, 8-5 in the second matchup. And then the SeaWolves went on the road and lost in Baltimore 14-5. And of course, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Florida with that enormous win up in Milwaukee last Saturday. So that's how the two teams have arrived at 3-0 for the Tropics atop the Eastern Conference, 9 teams in the conference, and Orlando at the bottom of the Eastern Conference right now at 0-3. Here's the long ball through to Derek Huffman, being picked up by Drew Ruggles. Huffman will wait for some help to arrive and gets it back to Schmerman. He'll play it back out to midfield, and absolutely, SeaWolves want to play the possession game, want to shorten the game as much as they can, and they have been, as Robbie Aristodamo has mentioned, very successful at that over the first 10 minutes here.
No, they've been fantastic for me on the day. They've created a couple good half chances, always looking to find their target forward, making runs off the ball just like they're doing right now.
Lopes with it, gets it back out to Schmerman. Across the floor now to Cruz.
Yeah, right now the Tropics just don't have a rhythm, can't get the ball back. Credit to the SeaWolves for sustaining long-term possession, making changes while they have the ball, and really pinning back the Tropics.
Petracek gonna roam out of goal there, and here's a chance for Mendoza with a long shot. That goes well wide. Cruz with it again, gets it down to De Silva. Been impressed with his play early in the season. Cruz with it, watched by Monaleris up top. Tavernisi over there on the defense for the Tropics as well, but Orlando happy to just keep it out at the midfield circle and look to create an opportunity off the ball. Cruz with it. Mendoza gets it into De Silva. And then one more time, they'll bring it back out to the midfield circle. Let's see if Pereira's can catch up to it. He can't. Carvalho sticks a foot in there. Check that. That was Monaleris, and Sliwa will come well out to control it as the Orlando will put fresh legs out onto the floor here. Guilherme with a little pressure. Nice little ball on the left side to Omar Tapia.
Yeah, long-term sustained possession for the SeaWolves. Again, it's kind of a broken record for us, but breaking pressure quite easily. And again, a bit of transition right now for the SeaWolves. But I think at the end of the day, if the Tropics, if their goal is to win a championship, sometimes you're going to have to defend for long periods of time. So this will bode well for them as the game continues.
Yeah, and it took them a while, even in that second game, to really get rolling. They were down a goal late into the second half, and then all of a sudden put it all together, scored 6 straight up, and just ran Orlando out of the building. Here's Huffman with it. Schmerman will play it back on top now to Sandoval. Sandoval being watched by Ricardo Carvalho, who had the game tire in the fourth quarter against Milwaukee. ball through to Richard Schmerman. Good opportunity, and he sent that way about halfway to Temple Terrace.
Well, I think it was a fortunate play because Matt Clare went to double team Hoffman down low. No one cycled over from the opposite side, so he looks like Matt Clare's looking at his other midfielders. Once you double down on a target, Sherman was wide open for that shot. Should have done better on his own, but I think the rotation was certainly missing in that double team.
Just like in basketball, when somebody leaves the low post to give help, somebody's got to rotate back and take that spot up, and that didn't happen that time for the Tropics, and Schmerman had an open look from about 25 feet. And you don't see Richard miss-hit him that often. Here's Reggett. He will not get a chance to catch up to it as Schmerman does a good job getting it back to his goalkeep. Long outlet to Huffman. Stephen Deroux on him.
That's another mismatch. You've got Stephen Deroux against a target forward. That's another mismatch. You're supposed to have your target defenders on the big targets.
Alvarez with a little give and go off the boards. That one skitters wide. Reggett with it. But again, Orlando with a takeaway in midfield, and now we have a blue card coming out, and I think it's going to be against the Tropics. And it may be against Deroux, I'm not sure.
No, it looks like against the big man.
No, it's going to be Alvis, yep. Okay. Didn't see what happened off the ball there. But
yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it earlier. You have a mismatch there. Rafa's should be on Hoffman, the target forward. Bit of a cross match, but that sustained possession from the SeaWolves is frustrating the Tropics right now. And sometimes when you get frustrated defensively, you can pick up some silly blue cards.
Just the heavy tackle there, and no question that that's a blue card. So a 2-minute power play here for Orlando with exactly 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Chance for the SeaWolves to draw first blood. Here's Cruz. On the right side to Schmerman. Schmerman will reverse field, get it to Alvarez, couldn't control it. Deroux will pick it up, and then he loses it. Here's a chance. Shot, good save, Petracek, as he got a hand on that bullet by Omar Tapia. Long outlet to Deroux. He's pushed down, and that'll be a foul against Alvarez.
The part tonight, Petracek. That's a great save. No rebound.
Yeah, that's his best save of the game right there.
That's an opportunity right now for the Tropics to kind of kill the game a little bit. Try to kill some critical. That's unfortunate. 3-line violation.
Cannot kick the ball over all 3 lines, the yellow line and the center line. One of the few rules of indoor soccer. There is no offsides per se or icing like you have in hockey, but the 3-line play from a field player is called. Here's Petracek again with a save on Mario Alvarez. Not quite as difficult as the last one. Sometimes, though, those low shots, Robbie, are the high shots where you make the save are spectacular. Now here's Tavernisi trying to create a shorthanded opportunity. Gets through on Sliwa. Here is Teixeira. Best opportunity of the game, and it comes shorthanded for Teixeira. Good work by Joey Tavernisi to try and fight through and create that opportunity, and he finally did.
Oh, I think Teixeira wants that one back.
Yeah.
That set him up perfectly for a nice man-down goal.
Good block by Drew Ruggles there. 36 seconds left in the quarter and the man advantage. Cruz with it. On the right side to Schmerman, back on top to Cruz. Lays it down low. Here's a chance for Alvarez with a shot, and Deroux gets in the way of that one.
That's a great block from Deroux.
He had a really good game in Milwaukee over the weekend. Down low to Huffman. On top now to Cruz. And that one is sent halfway to John's pass. So with 11.5 seconds to go in the quarter and the power play, the Tropics may weather the storm here.
Well, I think fortunate. Not the best start. A little bit nervy. Not a ton of possession. Really haven't created a lot of chances. But credit to them on the man down. Did a great job of killing this penalty.
One last push forward here for Orlando in the dying seconds of the quarter. Cruz with it at the yellow line, and time will expire before Orlando gets another scoring chance. But all in all, a pretty good first 15 minutes for Orlando. as they keep things scoreless. It's the Florida Tropics 0, the SeaWolves of Orlando 0. We will be back with more MASL soccer on Great 38 in just a moment.
Get on your feet as it's time for the CBS
I don't know what happened.
T-shirt talk. CBS Investment Advisors are your partner for your financial future. They have the expertise and background to help you manage investments, taxes,
8, 7, 6.
Well, let's see if the Florida Tropics can pick up the pace a little bit here in the second 15 minutes. Joey Tavernisi out at the midfield circle trying to encourage his troops on before this big crowd at the RP Funding Center. Really the only good chance in that, well, two good chances. Zach Reggett had an opportunity, and as you mentioned, Lucas Teixeira with a good look from the top of the box, but really that was it for the Tropics.
I think all credit goes to the SeaWolves. They came into this building really sharp, focused, retaining possession, finding their target forward early, dictating tempo, and I think right now the Tropics need to respond.
So let's see what Coach Clay Roberts may have in the playbook for the second quarter. Scoreless doesn't happen very often in indoor soccer that you get a scoreless quarter. Here's De Silva on the takeaway. Nice little backheel pass, shot, and that one's just wide. Pereiras, he'll look to get it out. Tavernisi didn't have anybody making a run, but Pereiras was taken down and the foul was called.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate giveaway from the Tropics. Lucky it didn't result in a goal for the SeaWolves, but I think they got to get their foot on the ball. They got to play with a little bit more urgency, a little bit more tempo, moving off the ball. I think right now the speed of the game is too slow.
Here's Deroux, looked like a handball, and it was called. And that'll be a 2-minute blue card, I believe, for the handball. Did they pull the card or not?
No,
yes, they did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Well, it's fortunate for the Tropics because this is going to result in a man-up opportunity.
I don't think it was in the box, so I don't think it's going to be a. I think it'll. Well, no, I think it's just outside the box.
This is a really, really good opportunity.
Yep.
A Tropics team that haven't started the game lively, bright, but this is an opportunity, man up, and a very dangerous set piece.
A blue card in the box results in a penalty kick.
Yeah, this is
That's
just
why it was
outside,
so critical as to whether it was inside or outside the box. But nonetheless, a very dangerous restart opportunity here for the Tropics.
Well, dangerous restart, and they're playing a man up, so this is going to be a very difficult set piece for the SeaWolves to defend. And you've got a right footer, a left footer as well for the Tropics. They've got a couple guys that have some cannons, as you know with Victor, one of the best shots in the MASL.
And Ricardo Cavallo at the yellow line. He's got a great shot. Drew Ruggles down low. Joey Tavernese at the back post. So that's the crew that will start the power play. Here's a shot by Matt Clare, and it goes right into the body of the Orlando defender, Jonathan Mendoza. So missed chance there.
Yeah, that is a big missed chance. Now, I'm always a big fan of moving the ball, moves the defense, but Matt Clare must have seen something. Give it a whirl.
Well, the SeaWolves couldn't really put up much of a wall, so I'm sure Matt had a pretty good look and maybe didn't quite hit it the way he wanted. Here's Clare, will track it down in the midfield area, and the Tropics will come back on the power play with 1:37 with a man advantage.
Yeah, it looks like a box formation for the SeaWolves, playing a 2-2. Let's see if the Tropics can move the ball, get it down low to either their target forward, Tavernese, or Victor.
Here's Pereiras, down low to Tavernese, shot saved by Sliwa. Just exactly what you were describing, Robbie, and they executed it well, but Sliwa, Johnny on the spot. Here's Pereiras, out to Carvalho. Carvalho to Clare, right side to Ruggles now. Ruggles down low to Tavernese. He's looking for his first goal of the year. He's got 3 assists. Here's Carvalho. Down to Pereiras again. Pereiras over to Ruggles. Ruggles with a chance, and that's blocked. Not quite quick enough. And here's a man ahead of the field, but good defensive recovery by Carvalho as Mendoza had snuck ahead of the Tropics defense and would have had a breakaway, but just could not quite get the ball. Here's Tavernese out to Ruggles. Ruggles down on the right side now to Clare, back right to Ruggles. And right back to Clare. Now down low to Tavernese, tried to play it off the boards. Clare will have to track it down. Still 30 seconds left in the man advantage. Carvalho with it. Carvalho to Pereiras. Pereiras winds up, shot, go! Victor pulled the trigger on that one even a little more quickly than Peter was expecting, as that one got on top of him in a hurry and with a lot of steam. So the Tropics take a 1-0 lead on the power play, and for Pereiras, that's his second goal of the season.
Well, let's see if that can ignite the Tropics with their energy, tempo, tenacity.
They've got 4 men down in the Orlando zone at the moment, as Reggett almost had a breakaway opportunity, but you're right, we'll see if that maybe gets the juices flowing. Huffman leaves it for Tapia. Now on the left side rather to Eduardo Cruz. Down low on the left side to Mendoza. A couple of Tropics in there on him, and Teixeira will head it out of danger, at least for the moment, now into the box and knocked out of there nicely by Alves.
Yeah, Alves, again, now he's kind of finding his way into the indoor game. His positioning is much better. He's a little bit more calm on the ball.
And he's healthy.
Well, that's always going to be a critical factor for any player.
Nice little ball by Gordy Gerson. Tried to pass it to himself off the boards, but good defensive positioning by Mario Alvarez denied Gerson the opportunity. Cruz with it. Yeah, Alves really sat out almost the entire first year with an injury, and played a fair amount of games last year, but was really never 100% healthy, and had a big smile in the locker room after his goal in Orlando a couple weeks ago. Here's Gerson. Oh, and just at the last second, Alvarez was able to knock it away. And when talking to him in the locker room after that game, he just had a big smile and said, hey, I had a full training camp and I'm healthy. And he has been an important contributor this year for the Tropics. He's got 2 goals from his defensive position.
You always love to see your target defender get involved in the offensive third of the field and contribute with stats.
Cruz will play it on the left side now to Lopes. And back to Peter Sliwa. First goal of the game belongs to the Tropics, but the story really probably is Brett Petracek, who has stopped everything Orlando has thrown his way despite just flying in yesterday. Here's a shot again. Petracek with a big save as he denies Lopes from close range.
No, he's looking very sharp.
Isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic debut.
Well, Clay Roberts sat down with him before the game. He literally just flew in yesterday, did not even get a chance to train with the Tropics yesterday, and really the message from Clay was just go out and have fun. We've got confidence in you. We've played against you before when he was with Kansas City and Cedar Rapids, and they know how good he can be. And really just go out. We'll give you as much help as we can, but have fun. And looks like he's having a lot of fun tonight.
He's a very athletic, acrobatic type of goalkeeper. He doesn't mind diving around, and again, he's not as positional. You know, a lot of the big-time keepers I used to play with, we talk about Victor Nogueira, even SeaWolves, they're more positional type keepers. He looks to be an acrobatic. He's all over the place. Fantastic to see.
And we probably won't see it a lot tonight. And here's another chance. Here's a own goal. Oh, did it stay out? It did. It bounced off both posts and never went over the goal line. How do you like that? Almost an own goal. Here's Carvalho, now Daru, 2-on-1. Daru with it. He'll bang it off the boards. Tried to reach it for Carvalho, but never got through to him. So bad break for Orlando as one of the Tropics defenders knocked it off both goalposts, but the score remains 1-0. Again, ahead of the field. Here's Alvarez with a shot. Again, Petrusek with a big save. Brett Petrusek has been terrific here tonight in his Tropics debut. Unbelievable.
I think someone must have said this was a TV live game.
Maybe. Here's again a chance in front of the goal. This time it is Eduardo Cruz who takes the pass off the boards, and the SeaWolves will tie it here with 9:12 to go in the first half.
Well, we'll get a replay of this, but it was coming. You got to give credit to the SeaWolves because they deserved at least a couple. I thought they dictated the tempo in the first quarter. A little bit unlucky, but it's a good ball off the boards. Good first time finish. It's a typical indoor goal, a little bit of a mucker goal.
Yep, they happen, and they can come fast and furious in this game. As we said, that scoreless first 15 minutes, not very indicative usually of what the indoor game is all about. So the SeaWolves with an equalizer, Eduardo Cruz.
A deserved equalizer. Yep. They've deserved a couple. Petrusek, I think, kind of closing the door, doing extremely well. And again, it just right now I can see Clay Roberts on the bench down below, just getting on his guys. Where's the energy? Where's the enthusiasm? Right now they're just lacking a little bit of that.
That little extra oomph.
Something.
Here's Petrusek, long ball to Tavernese. Tried to head it through to Manfoot. In front, Tavernese can't catch up. Pereiras, though, the captain, will get there instead. 1-on-1 in the corner. Tavernese, here's Pereiras with a shot out to Alves. Back to Pereiras. Pereiras closely marked, and he'll bring it back out to the center line and then knocked over the dasher board, so it'll be a kick in for the Tropics. One of the things I'm going to mention about Petrusek is he is not afraid to come off his line. Don't know how much if he'll do that tonight, but in 40 career games, he has 10 assists as a goaltender. So he likes to get himself involved in the action in the other end of the field when the opportunity presents, or at least look for that good, quick outlet to create a scoring opportunity.
And a lot of times it depends on how the team plays. Oftentimes you have the defender clear out a path for the keeper to slide to his right or left, and he becomes really a six-attacker playmaker type.
Drew Ruggles going to track this down at the yellow line for Florida, but has it taken away. Good play by Mendoza.
I've always enjoyed Mendoza. He's a fire plug. He's always busy. He's moving defensively, offensively. He's a good player.
If, in fact, Orlando can get its full roster on the floor at some point, they're not going to be an easy out. As we said, they're missing two of their best players, Osvaldo Rojas and Thiago Freitas, not dressed and have not dressed so far this season because of visa issues. The Tropics with their own issues. Heiner House, the goaltender from Orlando that signed here and was expected to see a lot of action this year, unable to play. Willow Martinez, one of the really good veteran goal scorers in this league, also out because of visa issues. So both of these sides have felt the impact of that, as a number of teams around the league have. And hopefully those situations will continue to be worked through the system and eventually get resolved and get some of the star players in this league back on the floor.
Yeah, I like to see Ricardinho here on the ball now. I want to see him get more involved. He's one of the playmakers for the Tropics.
Came over from Milwaukee in the offseason along with Drew Ruggles. And if you didn't get a chance to see that game-winning goal in our pregame that Guilherme scored, it's worth a look online because it was a tremendous pass from Ricardinho to Guy. Easy redirect for Guilherme, but Ricardinho threaded the needle through three different Milwaukee defenders to get it to Guillerme. A little bit of jostling and discussion on the floor, and Schmerman and Reggett have a little dust up. Neither one of those guys are going to back down. Couple of
there's a lot of jawing back and forth.
couple of former St. Louis Ambush players. Here's Reggett, and he can't get around Schmerman, and now we have a whistle, and I think we had some activity at both ends of the floor. I think Ruggles and one of the SeaWolves end up going to be a 3-line violation, right? But Reggett and Schmerman got into it again there just a moment. Of course, these two teams separated by just 50 miles or so. So they are natural geographic rivals. They played 6 times last year against each other. It's the 3rd time they've met this season. So here's a chance. Shot, and that goes high and wide as Huffman puts it over the glass and out of play. Breaking the action on the floor, and again we've got some contact, and a blue card has come out, and players have come off the bench. There was a line change going on, so we'll see exactly who's going to get blue carded, but I think it might be one aside. I think it may be one to the Tropics and one to the SeaWolves.
Well, that was coming.
Yeah, it had been a little chippy over the last minute or two. There had been some physical altercations and a lot of jawing, and the officials, I think, are going to just nip this in a bud right here and maybe send a couple of players to the box. We'll sort it all out when we get back after this timeout. Break in the action, 7:15 to go here in the first half. The Florida Tropics won. The Orlando SeaWolves won. This is MASL Soccer on Grade 38. So as we suspected, there are simultaneous blue cards. Richard Schmerman sent to the box for Orlando, and Ricardo Carvalho also sent to the box, and seemed to be the right call, Robbie.
Yeah, they double call. That was coming. We saw them, both of them jawing back and forth, a little bit of trash talking, pushing, shoving, and ultimately the referees had enough.
And it came when the officials called a media timeout, and both teams were kind of heading back to their bench, and Carvalho and Schmerman both made a little contact with each other, and I think the officials wanted to just make sure they nipped everything in the bud right there. So 4-a-side soccer for the next 2 minutes.
Well, certainly going to be spread out, that's for sure.
I was going to say, certainly creates a lot of space, and of course one of the things they say about indoor soccer is all about space and angles. So you got a lot of space right now to be able to work the ball around and maybe create an odd man opportunity. Sandoval will get it over on the far side to Alvarez. Tavernisi now watching, and here comes Claire on the mark, but SeaWolves will play it all the way back to their goaltender, Peter Sliwa. A little different first half here tonight for Orlando. They trailed at the half in Baltimore last week, 9-1. Tough place to play, Baltimore. Very good team, very small field, so you always get a lot of goals there, it seems, but kind of a disastrous trip for the SeaWolves, but they have regrouped very nicely here tonight.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, Brian. I mean, they look pretty composed on the ball. For the most part, they've dictated the tempo of the game. Created, I think, a little bit more, obviously, opportunities than the Tropics.
Been a little more even here in the second quarter. 50 seconds to go in the penalties. Either side even really with a chance. All the play here during the 4-on-4 has been right at midfield. Now Claire will play it back to Petracek. Been really, really good here tonight. Long ball ahead of the field to Claire. Claire trying to control it. Never really got a clean stop on the ball, so they will change, will the Tropics on the fly here. Monolaris and Claire will go off. Elvis and Victor Pereira's the captain. Come on, here's Zach Reggett trying to play it off the boards. A shot, and Sliwa on the short side makes a good save.
That's a nice spin turn from Zach Reggett. Big body, sole of his foot to control it, spins the defender, fires it with his left foot.
He's the kind of guy that anywhere he has the ball inside the yellow line, he can be dangerous. He's got that good a shot, that strong a shot, and if you're a opposing goaltender in this league facing Reggett, you've got to be ready just about any time he has the ball anywhere on the floor in the offensive third. 22 goals last year as the Rookie of the Year with the St. Louis Ambush. Came over, as we said, in a trade with the Ambush this summer as Drew Ruggles tracks it down near the Orlando yellow line, 1 against 2, and that math did not work as Orlando comes out of there with it. De Silva will settle it and play it all the way back into his own end as the Tropics again will change, as will the SeaWolves. Usually you play, 60, 90-second shifts. Kind of depends on the flow of the game and whether it's a power play or not. But
yeah, I think that's the key. Obviously when I played, it was in around that time, and you would hope within your line that you're all kind of flowing at the same time to keep everyone in a rhythm.
Sliwa will come out over his yellow line. Goaltenders are not allowed to cross the center line for the first 3 quarters of games, but they can come across the center line in the 4th quarter to get involved in the offense. Here's Huffman with it. Alvis sticks a foot in there. Tapia will track it down for the SeaWolves. 1-1 our score.
Yeah, Tropics having a hard time getting out of their own defensive half. Good ball movement from the SeaWolves.
Sliwa will look down for Huffman, being closely marked by Ruggles. This is Tapia with it. Plays it back out to Rafael Nascimento. I think the first shift Rafa's taken tonight.
Yeah, former Tropics player.
Played his first year here. There's a nice through ball to Schmerman, who gets it into the box, but Petracek able to read that play nicely and cover up. 3 minutes to go. Let's see if the Tropics can turn up the pressure here over the final 3 minutes. Reggett will get it across the floor to Monolaris. Shot, that one just misses far post. Good shot by Monolaris from distance there. Off the mark by maybe a foot, maybe less. Ricardinho with a takeaway comes to Reggett, and he will send it back to Drew Ruggles. Being watched by Big Mike De Silva. Monolaris, who just missed, plays it deep for Reggett, who is held up by Mendoza, and ball will harmlessly go to Peter Sliwa.
Yeah, I think frustrating for Clay Roberts, dumping that ball in when they had full possession.
Monolaris trying to step up. This one will be sent over the yellow line, so it'll be a restart here for the Tropics at the top of the penalty arc, and this always dangerous.
Well, and again, we know the Tropics have got some players that can really smack the ball. We talked already about the goal scorer, Victor. You know, Matt Clare can hit a ball. And again, what does Clay Roberts have up his sleeve in terms of a set piece?
Claire tried to get it through to Reggett. Carvalho takes a whack at it, and that never got through. The SeaWolves, with a full complement on the floor, able to set up that traditional three-man wall, and the Tropics weren't quite able to find enough space to get a chance on goal.
Yeah, I think it was poorly executed. They were looking for Reggett on the side of the wall for a little bump pass, but it was sniffed out by the SeaWolves. Actually read that very well.
Reggett has it on the near wall here, pushed down by Schmerman. Alvis will collect, tries to get it down to Reggett, and Sliwa will come out and grab it. Reggett tried to keep it alive for just a minute. Alvis will head it back the other way. Here's a 2-on-1 Pereiras. Pereiras gets it over. Here's Carvalho. Shot. Good save. Sliwa. Pereiras. Go! Victor Pereiras with his second of the night. And the Tropics lead it 2-1.
We're going to replay 2v1. Good save from Sliwa. Fortunate bounce to Victor, getting himself to the back post. But, you know, as a midfielder, you've got to find yourself in the box. And he's one of the better two-way midfielders in the MASL. I always enjoyed my time playing with him in my line. Fantastic footballer, great finish, and just has a nose for the goal.
And just a little unlucky for the SeaWolves. They had three defenders back, and they were all running back to defend. You give them credit, but the ball just skittered through all of them, and Victor Pereiras had the easy open goal to make it a 2-1 game. So,
well, you've got your midfielder with 2 goals. That's always a good sign for
right?
Clay Roberts.
De Silva with it, and he'll play it all the way back out to Nascimento. And a chance to say hello to Rafa before the game. Spent some time out with St. Louis, and now back here. Happy to be back in the Sunshine State. I was talking to some of the guys earlier today, and they were saying, you know, when they go to a game in St. Louis in December, they usually can't do it with the car windows down.
Much different feel here in Florida.
Beautiful, beautiful day here in Central Florida. See who comes out of there with it. It's going to be Nascimento. Orlando right now just doesn't want to give anything up late as Pereiras makes a bid. And then Manfoot with some pressure. And Orlando will just get it out of danger's way. Daru plays it ahead, but intercepted by Lopes. Gets it past Manfoot, but can't get any farther. Don't know if the SeaWolves will get a shot here as Pereiras makes a block. But time is going to wind out on the first 30 minutes. And it was a pretty good 30 minutes for Orlando, but they find themselves on the short end of just a 2-1 game. And I think, Robbie, real quick, if you're Orlando, being down 2-1 at halftime is not the worst result.
No, I think they're playing fantastic. Their head coach has got to be pretty pleased with the ball movement, speed of play, the tempo, the enthusiasm to the game. So credit to them. They're only down 2-1, but I think they deserve a little bit more.
A little chippy at times in the first 30 minutes. These two rivals know each other very well, and the SeaWolves know Victor Pereiras all too well as he manages to get a couple of goals. Back in just a moment. Back here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, Florida, Brian Ackley along with Robbie Aristodamo, veteran of 289 games in the Major Arena Soccer League, 3 World Championships with the Baltimore Blast. Let's talk, Robbie, a little bit about that first half. Brett Petracek, really the story, maybe in more ways than one, signed this week because Hugo Silva is out with an injury, and the other goaltender on the roster, Heiner Haus, who's very good, unable to play because of visa issues. So Petracek signed literally out of the amateur leagues in Chicago, but he's played 40 games in the MASL. He was great, and we were talking a little bit about the way that first half unfolded and maybe whether or not the Tropics approach was influenced by not wanting to put Brett out there and expose him to lots of great scoring chances, but you don't think that's really the case?
No, I don't think that's the case at all. I think they have full confidence in Brett at the back. Obviously, playing fantastic in the first half, making some critical saves, looks good with his feet, distribution spot on. I think more than anything, it's just a little bit of an energy, when the Tropics have the ball, and it hasn't been a lot of possession for the Tropics in the first half. Just the speed, the movement off the ball, the intensity, it's been a little bit second in terms of what they're trying to achieve in the offensive third of the field. So I think Clay Roberts is addressing that. The energy, the tempo, the speed of the game needs to be ramped up tremendously in the second half.
This is the first of 3 straight here at home for the Tropics. December 21st, the Baltimore Blast in town, who won the league championship 3 times in a row before Milwaukee won it last year. And the Wave will be here December 28th. And then a couple of Sunday matinees in mid-January. The SeaWolves here twice, January 12th and January 19th. And then the visit from St. Louis on January 25th. I'm sure the Tropics aren't looking ahead. This is their home opener. They've got a big crowd here tonight in Lakeland. But they also know that Baltimore and Milwaukee are on the schedule coming up, the Southern home cooking schedule. And I'm sure they're not looking ahead, but certainly the fact that the Blast and the Wave are coming to town has to be at least in the back of their minds a little bit.
No, you always think so, but as professionals, you got to take one game at a time. Anything can happen in indoor. It's a crazy game. Right now, SeaWolves are 0-3, Tropics are 3-0, so sometimes you can look ahead, but right now they've got to play better. They've got to come out in the second half and play with a little bit more urgency.
Yeah, we'll see if they can do that, and I'm sure Clay Roberts, who, by the way, did not coach in that first game November 22nd because he was with his college team, Southeastern University. They were in the national playoffs, and I think that might have had a little bit to do with how that game unfolded. So I think Clay Roberts will have some adjustments and strategies at halftime that might make the second half look a whole lot different. We'll be back and take a look at first half highlights and talk about what's going on around the MASL in just a moment. This is Major Arena Soccer League Florida Tropics action on Great 38. Well, there's one national championship banner that the Tropics have raised to the rafters here at the RP Funding Center. It's not a MASL championship quite yet, but it is a national championship for the Tropics this summer in the United Premier Soccer League after an 18-0 season. And they raised the banner, unveiled the banner here tonight to honor that squad. As the Tropics indoor side with a 2-1 lead, Brett Petracek really the story of the first half for Florida, as he was signed literally Thursday, got into town Friday, and has played very well. You see Lucas Teixeira missing a shorthanded chance there, and then another shot just wide. But Victor Pereira's Johnny on the spot in that first half, Robbie, for the Tropics.
2 goals, you know, again, he's the captain of the team. He always comes up big, scores big goals. Great footballer, great indoor player. And again, you're looking at the highlight here, 2v1, ball kind of ricochets. He finds himself in the back post, which all good indoor players need to find themselves, and scores his second on the night.
Yeah, you see him making that run off the ball, putting himself in perfect position, and a bit unlucky, as we said, for Orlando, too. They actually had it fairly well defensed, and the deflection had kind of just skittered through the box through 3 defenders, and Victor Pereira's there. He had that huge goal outdoors this summer in the national semifinals in stoppage time that allowed the Tropics to win that game in overtime, and then was named actually the MVP for the entire UPSL this past season for both the regular season and the playoffs, and now has 2 goals here tonight, 3 on the season. Back with more talk about the MASL in the third quarter. This is Major Arena Soccer League action on Grade 38.
All right, fans, 1 minute remaining, guys. 1 minute remaining.
Brian Ackley along with Robbie Aristodemo here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland as we get ready for third quarter action in just a couple of minutes. The Florida Tropics leading the Orlando SeaWolves 2-1. So, Coach, you played for a long time in this league, but you do a lot of coaching now. What do you think the message is for Clay Roberts in the locker room? Is it just a change of strategy, or just executing the game plan a little better in the second
I think it's
half?
just about, I think to me it's just about urgency and intensity. You're playing at home, you've got a fantastic crowd, and I just think the movement off the ball, the tempo, the speed, it's just a little bit too lethargic right now for me. And you certainly have all the talent in the world. They've got technical players, they've got good footballers, but I just think the key word is urgency and intensity, and they need to bring all of that in the second half.
Yeah, and working off the ball is something you and I were talking about before the game. The Tropics have scored several great goals this year by working hard off the ball. Matt Clare with a great run. Joey Tavernese set him up for a game winner in Orlando, in fact, in that first one the first game of the season back in November. So it's like basketball. You've got to create opportunities off the ball and be ready when your teammates sees you to make that pass to get that opportunity. And that is one of the things that really seems to be lacking, is that hard work off the ball maybe.
No, certainly off the ball is a critical component. Right now, the Tropics just haven't had sustained possession for long periods of time,
Right.
so their lines haven't been able to get a rhythm of the game. So right now, for me, in this second half, they've got to be able to connect 10, 15 passes, change some lines, get a rhythm, and then start firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, it's funny. I know in that opener back in November, there was one sequence where I think the Tropics made 22 passes to keep possession and ran like a minute or a minute and a half off the clock, and they were proud of that, and kind of rightly so, because like you said, that allows you to get the tempo back in your favor and to create those opportunities. What wasn't happening in that first game was, with all that possession, was then if you had that transition opportunity or you had that look into the offensive third, it was just maybe a half second or a second late. And that I think, like you talked about, the timing and the rhythm is something that, look, when you've got a roster with 12 free agents, a rookie of the year that's new, I mean, basically there's only 3 guys in the lineup right now that are original Tropics, and that's Victor Pereira, Lucas Teixeira, and Lucas Monolaris. Everyone else is almost brand new to the roster. So as Clay Roberts was saying before the game, you know, sometimes the expectations need to be perhaps on paper. No question the talent is there, but it will take time to develop that rhythm and continuity. And knowing that, we were just talking about how Victor Pereira, for the first time in 8 years, doesn't have Ricardo Diegues anymore as a line mate. And that's got to be taking time to get used to. But all these guys are new to each other, and even though they had a month of training camp and 3 games now under their belt, still probably a lot to expect that everything would go like clockwork.
No, I agree. I think it's a brand new team. It's going to take some time to gel with the chemistry, but it's a good start off the kickoff for the Tropics.
Carvalho almost had a break-in on Sliwa, but just lost it at the last second. But I'm sure one of the messages that Clay Roberts had was lots of intensity, lots of effort, as we have talked about, and this club can do that. Certainly, they have a very warrior and workman-like mentality. It was one of the things that the front office was looking for in the offseason when they went out to sign all the free agents. It wasn't just anybody. They wanted what I call winners and warriors, guys that will do anything to win, but are also real warriors off the ball and working in practice. And whenever they get the chance, here's an opportunity in front, and there's a good block by Ricardo Carvalho as Schmerman had an open net.
That's a nice little flick play from Huffman and Sherman, playing a 2-man game to perfection.
So both teams with a couple of chances here in the opening minute. Here's Huffman again. Got a runner in front, and good save by Petracek. He's able to cover up as Alvarez was making that off-the-ball run we were just talking about.
I think Petracek's going to want the highlight film after this game. He's had a great start to the game. Another big save, early days in the second half.
Gerson going to be whistled for a little bit. Too much contact on Mendoza there.
I think we talked about it at the halftime. What possession does, it gives you a rhythm, and it gives your line mates, your teammates, an opportunity to get on the field when you have the ball. And that's really the only way to start dictating the tempo.
Alvis on the intercept, gets it ahead to Gerson. Can't control it. Cruz has it now. 2-1 Tropics. Victor Pereira with both goals for the homestanding Florida Tropics here in Lakeland this evening, for a very large home opening crowd. This community in Polk County, Central and West Central Florida, really has supported this franchise well in its first 3 seasons, and trying to take it to a new level here off and on the floor in the 2019-20 season. Gerson gets it over to Ricardinho. Tropics want to make a change here, so Ricardinho holds it for a minute. Stephen DeRue is on. Gets it ahead to Reguette, who uses that size. Tried to lay it off for Ricardinho, but couldn't make that connection. 3-on-2 for Orlando if they hurry here. Here's De Silva. Left side to Lopes, but nice little veteran play by Drew Ruggles to break that up. Gerson gets it ahead. Tried to get it to Ruggles. Handball called against Cruz. And now the SeaWolves will be given a delay warning.
That's a great defensive play from Riggles.
Tropics, yeah, with a quick restart try there as the SeaWolves were going with a wholesale line change. Yeah, it was just a very easy little play by Ruggles, but much better and much tougher play than it looked. But he was under control the whole time and made sure there was no opportunity as Sliwa comes out to take it away from Joey Tavernese. Wade of Utica City had a stellar career with the Syracuse Silver Knights as well before they became Utica City last season. Oh, a chance in front almost for Teixeira, but couldn't quite catch up to the errant pass as Tapia comes in over the yellow line. Leaves it for Alvarez, sliding tackle by Tavernese. Stops the attack for just a moment, but Orlando will control it again.
Yeah, good control, good tempo from Orlando starting the second half, moving the ball, finding their target forward. Just unlucky. Ball finds its way out of bounds. But you like to see Tavernese coming back, sliding, getting behind the ball, trying to make a defensive play.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of the all-star forwards, Ricardo Carvalho in that first half making a good defensive play. We know Gordy Gerson loves to get back and play defense. Seen him take balls off the line
Well, at the end of
in
the day,
previous years, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to win a championship, all 5 guys have to buy into what you're trying to do defensively. You can't defend with 3 or 4. Everyone's got to buy in, get behind the ball.
Is something that has been emphasized every single practice since the start of training camp at the end of October. Claire goes down and he will be, rather Orlando will be whistled for the foul. It was Mendoza who tried to make the steal, and fortunately the foul was called or Orlando would have had a 3-on-1 opportunity. Here's Reggett in the corner. Reggett has it knocked away by Sliwa, off the boards in front, but nobody making a run, and Claire sends that halfway to Frostproof.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a reminder, please be aware of gameplay.
That's a decent attempt off the board from Carvalho. And Matt Clare coming from behind, trying to smack that home, just obviously sliced it too high.
Cruz with it, being watched by DeRue. Steven steps in. The first player signed by the Tropics with Major League Soccer experience. Played for DC United back in the mid-2000s. Was with Utica City. He's had a very stellar indoor career. Did you play with him in Baltimore at all or no? No?
Yeah, I left Baltimore in 2011. 6 great years in Baltimore. Fantastic fan base. And I really think the Tropics have that opportunity to kind of replicate what the Tropics have, what the Blast have done.
Here's Tavernese off the boards in front. Carvalho trying to tee it up. Shot. Oh, and the goal! Ricardo Carvalho gets his 4th of the season, and the Tropics lead it now 3-1. Thought it was going to go wide and just did catch the inside of the post into the back of the net, and the Tropics lead it 3-1.
So we'll get a replay of this, but it looks like a nice indoor goal. Ball off the board from Tavernese. Nice composed finish from Carvalho. Little kind of scissors kick without falling down. Beautifully done. That gives the Tropics a little bit of breathing room, but we got a replay here.
He is a
Transition
great
moment.
finisher.
Good control. Nice assist off the boards from Tavernese.
That's the 4th assist for Tavernese this year, and at least 3 of them have been exactly like that, off the boards. That was very similar to the goal that Carvalho scored in the 4th quarter against Milwaukee. Board pass from Tavernese to Carvalho in the box. He settled it and went top shelf to tie the game midway through the 4th quarter. Very similar looking goal. And the Tropics have their first 2-goal lead of the game, 3-1.
You love to see indoor goals. Not everything can be pretty. Doesn't have to look like FC Barcelona. You like the balls off the board, the mucker goals, getting guys in the box, mixing it up, and that's a great indoor goal.
Yeah, and one of the things, and we've talked about this on prior broadcasts, the Tropics have no indoor training facility in Lakeland. So for the first 3 years, almost all of their practices from the preseason right through the regular season were outdoor practices. They were, practically speaking, an outdoor team playing indoors. This season, they've stepped up and made the commitment in so many ways to take this franchise to another level. One of those ways is traveling to Orlando every day to practice in an indoor facility in Orlando. So the commitment, both financially and in time from the players and the front office, has been substantial in making this really a better indoor team, if you will.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, I think when you're training on turf, a proper turf, when you're playing with boards, it makes all the difference in the world for players to find their rhythm of the game. Runs off the box, balls in the box.
Punch out by SeaWolves. Drew Ruggles was in the neighborhood there again as Tavernese made that board pass.
I think as important as well, the keepers, because all the balls are getting ricocheted off the boards, and keepers, more so than anyone else, really have to get used to those boards being beside them.
Ruggles being watched by Derek Huffman. He did not play in either of the first two games for the SeaWolves against the Tropics in the lineup tonight. Here's a through ball to Teixeira. Teixeira shot, good save by Sliwa as he got his left arm on that one.
Yeah, that's a great save from Sliwa. Good run from Teixeira, and I like the ball from Manfoot. Just a ball in behind. You like to see your defenders making through runs into the box, into dangerous areas in the attacking third.
As we expected, it's been a little crisper here for Florida in the first 7 minutes of the third quarter.
Yeah, I think the crispness comes from the movement off the ball. It's not a jog, it's now a sprint.
Carew going to track this one down at his own yellow line. Ruggles will play it back to Petracek. Petracek loses it, and there's an easy goal. Petracek wanted a foul, but Derek Huffman comes in to clean up the misplay off the boards by Petracek, and Orlando right back in at 3-2.
Well, it's a difficult ball. You know, we just talked about why it's important for keepers to have boards in training. He kind of gets delayed on the ball, maybe takes a little bit too much time. Probably should have just dumped it back off the boards. And credit to SeaWolves for really pouncing on the mistake.
Yep, no question about it. And the funny thing is, Petracek considered really a good player with his feet, and just had a little too much pressure and not enough time to make a decision, and Orlando made him pay. So we will take a timeout on the floor, and somebody just got issued a yellow card from the Florida Tropics bench. I don't know who that was. Might be Tavernese. He's heading to the sin bin. We'll sort it out when we get back. It's Florida 3, Orlando 2. This is MASL Soccer on Great 38.
Tropics and the Ovation Bar and Bistro, we'd like to give our thanks to you with this jersey and ask everyone to please stand to honor all of our active military and veterans in attendance this evening.
The flag still stands, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American.
Thanks, Juliana. And thanks, special thanks to Ovation Bar and Bistro for sponsoring our veteran of the game. Golf Etc. is your one-stop shop for all things golf. Huge club selection and apparel from head to toe. Visit their store at the Lakeside Village in Lakeland or check out their website at golfetcetera.com.
Back to the RP Funding Center here in Lakeland. Play just underway after the officials' timeout, and Rafael Alves will play it back towards the Orlando side of the field. Carvalho can't get there, but Claire does for the Tropics. Gordy Gerson will track it down. He's sent to the turf. Here's a chance now in the corner. Claire will play it back to Teixeira. In the corner to Claire. Claire tries to find some space in front. Loose, gets it to Carvalho. Carvalho with a shot. Deflection by Gerson, and that one goes high and wide.
I like the opportunity. Shot back post. Gerson's just lurking in a dangerous area. We always talk about getting to the back post. Good things happen.
And indeed, as we mentioned, there was a yellow card issued against the Tropics, and it was Joey Tavernisi sent to the penalty box. So he sits for 5 minutes. The Tropics do not play a man down, but Tavernisi, of course, out. Here's a 3-on-3. Mendoza with a shot. That just misses on the rebound. Petracek with a save off the foot of Derek Huffman. Ruggles will intercept. He and Tapia battle. Ruggles stays on it. Now here's Mendoza. 2-on-1 chance here. Through to Huffman, who makes a bid on the short side and just denied by the woodwork. Here's Alvarez. Tropics a little scrambled right now. Here's Manfoot trying to control it. Gets it to Ruggles. Ruggles tries to get it ahead to Victor Pereiras. Pereiras going to track it down here at the yellow line. And Pereiras collides with Schmerman, no whistle. Fans and Victor Pereiras not at all happy about that no call. Here's a takeaway now by Gerson. Gerson tried to cut it to the middle of the field. He's taken down, no call. The fans unhappy with that. All of a sudden, the officials letting them play here.
Yeah, well, this is how indoor soccer's all about. Now we're talking the tempo, the speed, chances on either end.
Huffman is denied again by Petracek. But Schmerman in there for the rebound. Schmerman sends it on goal, but skitters by Petracek. Out now to Cruz, a whistle and a foul away from the ball. This big crowd here in Lakeland tonight, not all that happy at the moment with the men in blue.
Couple of big saves from Petracek.
Yeah,
2v1, 3v2 opportunities for the SeaWolves. Unlucky, actually, not to tie this game up at 3.
Honestly, he's been better than I think anyone could have hoped for tonight.
Well, and he's actually doing quite a bit. He's made a lot of big saves.
Through the box, nobody there, but Cruz will pick it up, banged in front, and Huffman skies that one and sends it 3/4 of the way to Oldsmar.
A good opportunity for a line change for the Tropics, looking a little bit fatigued. A few of the players got caught on a long shift.
Great to have you along on WTTA. Great 38 tonight in the Tampa, Lakeland, Sarasota area. If you just stumbled upon us, it's major Arena Soccer League action. The Florida Tropics and the Orlando SeaWolves, 3-2. Florida, first of 12 games on Great 38 as Reggett shakes free. Reggett moves in. Reggett tries the shot, and he just misses at far post to Shera. Tries to go for the rebound, and we've got a hold coming up and a blue card against Orlando. So Reggett wasn't able to quite get his shot away because he was being held by one of the Orlando defenders, and Drew Ruggles complaining about something. He draws a yellow card. And I wonder if he wanted a shootout or a penalty kick, because Reggett was otherwise in alone on Sliwa.
Well, you got to keep your cool. You have to keep your discipline. It's a good opportunity for Reggett. Nice spin move, comes into his strong foot. Just misses off to his left. And now there's an opportunity for a power play. See if the Tropics can make it 2 for 2.
He's been working on that all night and finally was able to make that spinorama move to create the opportunity. It's Rafa Nascimento who goes to the penalty box for the hold.
Trying to just sort out who's going to be on this power play. Looks like Matt Clare and Lucas Teixeira going to lead the charge at the top of the power play.
Victor Pereiras out there, Gordy Gerson down low, and I think it's Ricardo Carvalho out there as well. Yep.
These are always tricky opportunities because you're playing a man up. You have a dangerous set piece. Do you try to go for the goal? Do you try to start to move the ball, keep the possession a little bit?
Wouldn't be surprised if Claire, who actually pulls the trigger again. We'll see Teixeira lining up, but he may just run through the ball and leave it for Claire. We'll see how the Tropics want to play it here. Just kind of a one-man wall. It will be Carvalho. He does lay it off to Claire, and that's deflected over the glass out of play. So it'll be a corner kick for the Tropics, another dangerous restart.
That's a fantastic block.
Yeah, it was. Man down, anytime a defender can help out a goalie like that, Peter Sliwa will say thank you very much.
Well, you have an opportunity again. Man up, power play 4. You have a corner kick, another dangerous opportunity on a set piece. Maybe a double dummy, change the point of attack, maybe to Lucas on the left side.
Gerson will put it in play here for Florida. 4:51 to go in the third. 3-2 Tropics lead it. Been tight throughout. Tropics at 3-0, looking for their first 4-game win streak in team history. Gerson gets it on top to Shera, and we have a foul apparently against the Tropics away from the ball, a pushing call. Might have been against Carvalho, so definitely a wasted chance there. Still lots of time to go in the power play. So we've actually got 3 players in the box. 2 Tropics, Drew Ruggles and Joey Tavernisi, both
For 10 minutes after committing 2 yellow cards.
on yellow cards, and if I understood the public address correctly, they got 2 yellow cards each. Not sure that's 100% correct, but they are both in the box, but the Tropics do have the power play after the 2-minute call for holding against Nascimento. Here's Pereira's cross court to Claire. Got it down to Carvalho, but nobody back post that time for the Tropics.
That's a great ball from Carvalho, back post. Gerson was lurking inside, kind of misread the pass. You don't mind the ball moving right now. You've got Matt Clare kind of leading the charge up top, getting the ball down low.
Gerson looking for his first goal on the season after scoring 34 last year for Orlando, but he is in just his second game. Here's Clare. Clare looking for Gerson back post, didn't really strike it well. And Clare will head it all the way back to Brett Petracek, who, regardless of the outcome here tonight, will go down, I think, as the storyline that most people will be talking about. Here's Clare. Gets it down to Victor. Back to Clare. Out to Teixeira. Quickly on the left side to Pereiras. Pereiras can't get it through as Eduardo Cruz makes the defensive play. Clare with it. 19 seconds left in the man advantage. Carvalho to Clare. Over to Pereiras. Pereiras to Clare. Clare may tee it up. He does. Doesn't get through. And Orlando will, I think, successfully kill the penalty. Here's Petracek, and he comes out and calmly plays it ahead to Matt Clare. Tried to get it through to Gerson as Nascimento is back on the floor. So the Tropics now 1 for 2 on the power play. Here's Pereiras. Pereiras, Nascimento back to break that one up. Rafa, a good play defensively, tries to get it out. Teixeira will be called for the push.
A missed opportunity to go up 4-2. There was a bit of a sloppy power play. All ball moving just a little bit too slow, not getting it down to the low guy. Oftentimes when you're on the man up, I think it's key to get it to the lowest player. It shifts the defense back a little bit further, then you can kick it back out. Unfortunately for the Tropics, they didn't really garner any real opportunities.
Yeah, they were close on a couple, but none really resulted in great scoring chances. Manfoot tries to get it to Reguet. Now here's Cabrera to Reguet with the shot, and that's blocked by Schmerman, who then takes Reguet down hard, and he and Schmerman will exchange a couple of pleasantries, but no blue cards on that.
And Sherman's involved in every
Boy,
little
they have been going
scuffle.
at it really since the opening whistle, haven't they?
That's all good fun. I mean, I think it's good indoor soccer, getting after it.
2 guys that will not give quarter, you know that. Ricardinho with it. Ricardinho with the shot. Again, a block. Orlando has had a nice effort defensively. Here's Reguet, tries to turn, and Sandoval got a piece of that one to keep it away from Peter Sliwa. Daru will send it forward, but Elvis, and that's going to be a blue card for sure, as he caught Sandoval up high with a foot.
Yeah, that was the second actual blue card for Alves. Very clumsy, high boot.
The official's going to talk it over to see if it's maybe even something more than a blue card.
Luckily.
Yeah, I think it caught him more in the chest than the throat area, but yeah, very dangerous play, certainly by Alves. So it looks to be a blue card against Rafa, and the Orlando SeaWolves will go on the power play now, and it apparently looks like Alves also got a yellow card. So,
and I think that's something that Alves has got to continue to grow into, making timely challenges. There's really no need in the offensive third of the field to make that type of rash challenge. And he'll continue to learn as he develops.
getting crowded down in that Florida penalty box.
I'll tell you what, it could be a whole line change.
Well, Tavernisi's yellow card has been served, so he's back out on the floor, but
Well, speaking of that, we got 2 minutes left, and it's a real opportunity for the
Yeah.
SeaWolves to draw this game at 3. It's a big penalty kill for the Tropics. Both Lucases are on the pitch. You've got Steven and Tavernisi.
yeah, now the red card is being shown to Alves, so it was indeed more than just a yellow. They will give him a red.
It's interesting, yeah, maybe video replay, maybe the referees talked about it.
Yeah,
It is a high boot to his face.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Here's the explanation. The violent conduct, serious foul play. So,
I mean, I think I'd probably agree with the referee. It's
yeah,
a
that was
violent
it was
conduct.
definitely a
Yeah.
yellow, and yeah, I'm not going to argue that it wasn't a red. So, Alves's night is done. That is truthfully the first red card I can remember in Tropics history. May not be the first, but it's the first I can remember.
Yeah, no, I think you might be right.
They don't
So-
come out very often in this game. So Alves done. The Tropics will have to play shorthanded for 2 minutes as well as the SeaWolves look to tie it up. And Robbie, we really didn't talk much about that second Orlando goal being kind of a big goal because the Tropics up 3-1 had started to really kind of take the play away from Orlando, and then the SeaWolves get that second goal really sapped the momentum, and they're very much alive here this evening.
No, I think so. I mean, right now, Petrocek, he did make that one mistake, but at the same time, the balance in the attack, when the ball went back to Petrocek, there wasn't a defender to his right, so he had really no choice. He kind of fumbled the ball a little bit, fumbled a bit, but he's really been the savior for tonight for the Tropics.
He's been great. Yeah, he's been outstanding. No, he's man of the match for the Tropics, no question. So Antonio Manfoot will take Rafa Alves' spot in the penalty box. Tropics, of course, have to have a man in there, even though Alves has been tossed.
Oh,
This all comes with 2 minutes and 1 second to go in the third quarter. So
yeah, and Clay Roberts, he knows right now 2 minutes left in this quarter, and they've got to kill a really big penalty if you're a Tropics fan.
So the blue card accumulation, red card result, and Orlando with a chance to tie it here. Giroux with a good defensive play, Tavernisi up top. Tropics play a little more of a diamond penalty kill. Down low to Huffman. Huffman back to Alvarez now. Cruz over to Schmerman and right back to Cruz at the yellow line. Alvarez down to Huffman and right back to Mario. Super Mario will get it on top to Cruz. Now down low again. Schmerman through the box. Oh, and I don't know how Derek Huffman missed that one. Got the perfect back post pass, and somehow it stayed out of the net. As now we have Lucas Monaleris on a little contact man. I don't know. It must have hit the post and never actually got through to Huffman. I think it hit the back post and came right straight out, and Huffman never really actually got a chance to get a foot on it. Crazy play.
Yeah, Tropics dodged a bullet because that was a back post tap-in on the man-up situation.
Yeah, I think I could have scored that one. I know you could have. So, very fortunate again, the Tropics goalpost being Brett Petrocek's best friend here. It's the second time the SeaWolves have rung one off the woodwork. The first time went off both posts and it stayed out. Tapia with it. 37 seconds left in the man advantage. Basically, it coincides with the game clock here in the third quarter. Down low again, and Petrocek will have an easy cover this time.
There's a lot of work down low from Lucas Montalleres because he's got to shuffle back and forth when they're playing that diamond formation up top for the Tropics. There's a lot of work for the target defender.
One last push forward here for Orlando, looking for the equalizer. Schmerman on the left side to Alvarez. Alvarez down to Derek Huffman. It's been a welcome addition to the lineup tonight. Here's a long shot, and that one just whistles wide. Schmerman making a bid for his third of the year. Cruz with a shot. Petracek again with a save. Bicycle kick try by Huffman at the buzzer goes out of play, but Orlando with lots of pressure on the power play, but the Tropics survive as Antonio Manfoot, serving the penalty for Rafael Alves, comes out of the box. So the teams will start five-a-side to start the fourth quarter, and we'll see how it all plays out. 15 minutes left here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland. It's the Florida Tropics 3, the Orlando SeaWolves 2. This is Florida Tropics Major Arena Soccer League action on Great 38.
And now, please direct your attention to the field where Juliana is with tonight's Planet Fitness Challenge participants.
Okay, fans, it's now time for the Planet Fitness in-game fitness challenge. These two lucky teams will have to compete in 3 fitness challenges, including push-ups, sprinting, sit-ups, and most importantly, finishing off by scoring a goal. The winning team will get 4 tickets to an upcoming game of choice. Ladies, are you ready? On your mark, get set, go!
Yes, I can. Yep. Hooray! Miracles of 2019. Not a problem.
All right, fans, be sure to stick around after the game for the post-game autograph session on the field immediately following tonight's game. The autograph session will begin approximately 10 minutes after the game, and everyone may enter through the goal underneath section 232.
So let's see how things unfold here in the final 15 minutes. We've got ourselves a ball game, the 3-0 Florida Tropics being pushed to the limit by the 0-3 Orlando SeaWolves. Here's been the man of the match for the Tropics so far through the first 3 quarters, Brett Petracek, who has been just terrific. Signed literally, I don't want to say off his couch, because he has been playing some top-level amateur indoor soccer in Chicago, and he's a veteran of 40 games in the MASL, but has not played in this league since about halfway through last season when he was the starter with Kansas City, but ended up getting released about halfway through the season when Mark Saxby took over the starting goaltending chores for the Comets. Here's Tavernisi. He's muscled off the ball. 5-a-side now is the penalty to the blue card penalty to Alves has been taken care of. Here's Huffman breaking in. Huffman puts it in front, shot and a goal. Well, that all started with a bad decision by Lucas Montoleros out at the midfield area to try and take it away, and the SeaWolves make Florida pay, and we have a tie game with almost the entire fourth quarter to go.
Yeah, looking at the replay, Montoleros kind of dives in, takes a chance. The big man, Huffman, great ball across the box for Sherman. And for me, he's been a solid player for the SeaWolves, mucking it up. Good out of the back, and of course gets the tying goal. Good back post run. Great run from Huffman. I think it was certainly a mistake for Montoleros.
So the Tropics find themselves very much where they were opening night in Orlando, in a tie game in the fourth quarter. And that will be a surprise to a lot of folks around the league. Here's Reggett, tries to find it. Here's Gerson, shot, goal! Well, that's kind of a big one, don't you think?
That's massive for Gordy Griffin. Former team scores right off the kickoff. Great rocket to the near post. Again, kind of a play out of nothing.
Gerson gets his first of the year. And it is a big one for the Tropics, just seconds. I mean seconds after the SeaWolves had tied it.
Well, he's a type of player as well. Once he gets one, you know, he can catch fire, start to find a rhythm. But it's a ball off the boards, finds Gerson, and a great finish.
Great strike by the Kid Dynamite, and he goes boom at just the right time. Schmerman again with a chance now in the Florida end. DeRue will take it away. Gets it to Manfoot. Nice little move by Manfoot. Gets it ahead for DeRue. 2-on-1 chance. Reggett didn't go. Now here's the ball across the floor to Manfoot. Reggett didn't quite recognize that DeRue was going to get there and could have created a chance. Reggett again unable to control it. Now here's a run by Mendoza. Knocked off the ball a little bit by Lucas Teixeira. Things getting hot and heavy here in the fourth.
Yeah, it proves to be going to be a good fourth quarter, isn't it?
Welcome to the wild, wonderful, wacky world of professional indoor soccer. There's a shot blocked by Claire, and that will go out of play.
I think missed opportunity on the counterattack for the Tropics.
Yeah,
it looked to be a 2v1, but it
yeah.
ended up being a good transition defensive moment from the SeaWolves getting back.
Claire will pick it up, being watched by Schmerman, and he will just clear it out of his harm's way for the moment. Here's a ball down low to Lopes off the mark, and the rebound try by Schmerman goes out of play. Petracek not too happy with his defense on that one.
No, I think Zach ended up pressuring Sliwa. Didn't really need to. Was too far away from the keeper. Kind of was a little bit disjointed from the rest of the Tropic defenders. Again, you got to be on a string. If you want to be a good defensive unit, you've got to be on a string. Everyone's got to go at the same time.
All ahead to Joey Tavernese. He's got Carvalho with him. Gets it to the center of the floor to Monaleros now. Over to DeRue. DeRue will push forward. Gets by one man. Can't get by a second. De Silva will track it down. Tavernese there causes the turnover, and Carvalho will play it back to the midfield line and all the way back now to Petracek. If he should choose to do so, Petracek and or of course Peter Sliwa could come over the midfield line now here in the fourth. Probably not the best idea, but they can do it if they need to or want to. There's Lopes. Little give and go. Intercepted by Monaleros. Pereira breaks out. Now he'll slow it down.
That's a great savvy veteran play for Pereira.
Tropics needed a line change. They weren't going to have a numbers situation, and Pereira's just backed off and made the smart play. Here's De Silva.
If you're a Tropics fan, it's about buckling in. There's still plenty of time left. You got 12 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, this is not the kind of game where you protect a one-goal lead for 12 minutes. So, yeah, a lot will and can happen, I promise. Intercept by Pereiras. He's had a great game tonight. 2 goals, first 2 of the game for Florida. May need to head off on a line change here shortly, and he will. Here's Gerson, who got the go-ahead goal a couple of minutes ago. Long ball from Petracek down to Reggett, and he's unable to corral it, and Peter Sliwa, the former Tropic stepminder, hauls it in. Reggett, what about trying to make a bid from distance there, see if he could catch Sliwa out as Reggett and Schmerman again. Who else? And Zach a little shaken up. In fact, maybe even a little more than shaken up, we'll see. Yeah, he's going to be all right. It is not a forgiving turf in indoor soccer. There isn't really any padding under the AstroTurf. It's just AstroTurf and cement. So that's a pretty hard fall for Zach.
Yeah, that one's going to hurt tomorrow morning.
Yep. Came down on that right hip, I think.
Yeah, but you love his effort. He's been all over the field tonight. He's holding up play well, creating some chances. I love his work rate, love his energy for a young player.
Don't know if Orlando's hanging around long after the game, but Richard Schmerman and Zach Reagan may want to meet for a cold one and some quality time in a wing house tonight, because they have been in each other's pocket right from the start. Nice little back heel by Ricardinho. Comes out of there with it to Tavernisi. Tavernisi had Gerson down low, still down low is Gerson, and there's the shot by Ricardinho that goes out of play.
Well, it's a savvy nutmeg from Tavernisi. That's a nutmeg pass to Ricardinho. Just obviously went a little bit too high, but you like the savviness from Tavernisi.
Speaking of the Wing House, happy hour is every day at Wing House from 3 to 7 p.m. and after 10 p.m. Bring in your ticket stub for a mini Tropics game to the Wing House in Lakeland this week and get 5 free wings. Wing House in Lakeland, great food, beautifully served. Check out our new menu at winghouse.com/Lakeland. Headed out of there by Monaleros. Pereiras will counter now. He's got Manfoot ahead of the field, and Lopes comes back to break that up, at least for the time being. Manfoot going to battle in the corner. Manfoot in front, and Pereiras a little late getting there. But Monaleros will get the turnover. 9:55 to go. Ton of time in indoor soccer. 4-3 Tropics. Manfoot with it. Manfoot, nice little move on Lopes. Manfoot with a shot. Here's Pereiras, and he skies it over everything. Great opportunity for Victor for the hat trick, and he just mishit it.
Well, it's a great little in and out move from Manfoot. Creative 1v1. Fakes the shot, slips the ball back across with a square ball for Victor, and you don't see him miss from that distance too often.
Not that bad. I mean, he might miss by 6 inches high or 6 inches wide, but not 10 feet high like that. And it looks like the referees conferring over here for a moment. Thought there was something afoot, but apparently not. So Sliwa being pressured by Tavernisi. Petracek will play it up to Claire, who gets it out to the midfield line. Shot, that one well wide. Tavernisi tries to get it ahead to Lucas Teixeira. Teixeira pushed down by Alvarez. And Mario says, really didn't mean to, but whistle blows.
Yeah, I think it's a fortunate foul. It allows the Tropics to take the air out of the ball, get some line changes, get a little bit of a tempo, get that ball moving, keep the SeaWolves under pressure a little bit.
Pereiras long ball into the Orlando end to Tavernisi. Let's see if he uses the boards again. He tried to. Had Matt Clare making the run, but Orlando has seen that once or twice, and they were not fooled that time. It's exactly how the Tropics got their game winner in the season opener back on November 22nd.
That's not a bad opportunity right here for Victor Pereiras, because he's got a lethal cannon. He maybe looked to try to ping it.
Nope, going to take it over to Teixeira instead, down to Tavernisi in the left corner. Joey on top now to Lucas Teixeira, and the Tropics will reset the offense. It's Guilherme, and we've not seen a lot of Guilherme tonight. Here's Pereiras, gets by De Silva. Pereiras, he was looking for Tavernisi back post, and it never got through. Good idea. Long ball ahead to Nascimento. Nascimento with a header, good idea. Petracek was equal to that challenge. Claire gets it ahead for Gerson. Gerson can't quite get there as a good defensive play by Eduardo Cruz, and then a shot through the box goes wide. Just a half second late on the pass to Gerson there. Now Gerson give and go, shot, great save. Sliwa maybe his best of the night as he came out and denied Matt Clare.
Good give and go with Gerson and Matt Clare, but even better save from Sliwa.
Some of that basketball strategy again with that little pretty give and go. Gerson will track it down in the corner. Gerson trying to battle through, and he will draw the foul as Cruz is whistled.
You want to play this like a corner. You've got Monteleras Guillermo, Reyes, they have got a lot of players that can smack the ball.
Yeah, you talk about cannons and finishers. Guillermo is very good. Here's Montalera's shot. Goal! Well, of all the guys on the floor, it wasn't Montalera's that I was picking to take the shot. And I think SeaWolves might want that one back, but Lucas Montalera's makes it a 5-3 game.
That's a massive, massive goal. 2-goal cushion with under 8 minutes to go. Wasn't much involved in it, but they played it like a corner. I think the SeaWolves were dropping a little bit too far back in their defensive shape. A nice composed finish from Montalera's.
Yeah, I mean, it was from about 40 feet out, and I think Peter had a pretty good look at it and just went below him, just got a piece of it, but was unable to keep it out of the back of the net. So Lucas Montalera's gets his first of the season. A big one for the Tropics, breaking the action. Florida 5, Orlando 3, back in a moment.
Here's something we've learned in the last 115 years. Energy connects us. In the conversations, the smiles, the interactions we experience every day. Lakeland Electric is proud to power local businesses, ensuring reliable energy for our friends, our families, our future. Lakeland Electric, powered for life.
Attention fans, we'd like to welcome Santina Gentile celebrating her bachelorette party. Congratulations, Santina, and thank you for spending it with the Tropics. Woo!
Fans celebrating here in Lakeland as Lucas Montalera's gives the Tropics a 2-goal cushion again. 5-3 Florida, big one, but a lot of time still left, Robbie.
A lot of time. Obviously, you got a 2-goal cushion, big goal for Montalera's. SeaWolves probably talking a little bit about when is the prime time to pull Sliwa to play 6 attacker. And that's a real treat for the fans if this is a live game on TV. But there's still a couple minutes before that happens.
Yeah, at least probably 2 or 3. You'd have to think around the 4 to 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter if it's still a 2-goal lead, but we'll see how it plays out. I don't think the scoring is done by any stretch here tonight, probably both ways, as Lucas Teixeira going to be called for a little bit too much contact on Derek Huffman in the corner. Mentioned those 2 goals early in the fourth came close together. The Gordy Gerson goal was 10 seconds after Orlando had tied it. Here's a chance and a shot, and was that deflected? Apparently not, so it'll be a goal kick for Petrocek. So Gerson gets the go-ahead goal just 10 seconds after Derek Huffman's goal.
Yeah, you see that time and time again in indoor. You celebrate, you're all fired up, and all of a sudden, the game's so fast, you have the ball in the back of your own net.
Yeah, it can happen very, very quickly. Here's Tavernese. Sliwa going to beat him to that ball. Show off his good foot skills and calmly send the SeaWolves on their way here. Next goal could be very big. If the Tropics get it, it might be the backbreaker. If Orlando gets it, they're right back in it. Here's Alvarez with a shot. Petrocek with a save and better control of the rebound.
Fantastic pairing of the ball. Tough shot.
Yeah, that had
rebound.
some mustard on it.
Really solid for Petrocek.
Here's Ricardinho. Over to Ruggles now. Ruggles plays it into Zach Reggett.
I think right now an experienced team, which again, the Tropics do have a lot of experienced players. It's about maintaining possession, getting line changes, taking the air out of the ball.
Yeah, now you want to run the clock and play some possession, no question about that. But you don't want to get too complacent and go into prevent mode, if you will, because you can get in trouble, and there's a giveaway. Here's Alvarez with it, but he can't do anything with it. Huffman shot in that.
Another save.
Yeah, I think Petracek either got a piece of it or Ricardinho got just a piece of it. But it just stayed out of the net. But the SeaWolves will get a restart here at the top of the penalty arc.
Wow, this is a big opportunity.
Yep.
Maybe a timeout from the SeaWolves, but you know, we just talked about possession, but possession going backwards may result in what we just saw. It's possession in the offensive third.
Call a locksmith service you can trust. Papa Lock Locksmith Services. Call
So lay off to Huffman.
647-56.
That wasn't really all that inventive on the SeaWolves' part. Reggett with some pressure now. Sliwa will play a long ball down again towards Huffman, being watched by Monaleros. Huffman plays it off. This is Kevin Naranjo making an appearance. You haven't seen much of Kevin tonight. Naranjo with it. Back to Sandoval. SeaWolves not in a huge hurry. 5.5 minutes is a lot of time in the indoor soccer game. Huffman with control, couldn't quite turn, but Sandoval will track it down. In the box to Huffman, Petracek will come out and get a leg on it. Ricardinho can't control it. Naranjo does, but it's intercepted by Claire. Claire to Ruggles. Ahead now to Reggett. Reggett. He'll slow it up as they need a line change. Otherwise, the Tropics, I think, could have been a little more aggressive on the counter, but they wanted fresh legs as Ruggles was in front. Gerson tried to find him, but it never got through. Naranjo with it, being pressured by Pereiras. Pereiras will come out of there with it. Gerson going ahead of the field, gets the ball. Here's Gerson with a shot. Sliwa makes the save. Monaleros comes out and sends that 3/4 of the way to West Chase.
I tell you what, he's got a hard shot, and he proved me right there. Almost hit the Jumbotron. I think a couple of mistakes from the Tropics getting the ball and creating turnovers too quickly.
Crunch time now here for both sides as we get inside 4.5 minutes. Here's Daru. Daru will slow it up now. Taking a look, has Gerson on the far boards. Instead, we'll lay it off to Pereiras and back to Teixeira.
Yeah, this is where you got to keep possession in the other team's half. Offensive third of the field, little three-man weave, pass and move, and then get a line change.
Teixeira. Petracek wants his club to move forward. He'll play a deep ball in the left corner to Gerson. Gerson. Pereiras will keep possession for the Tropics and play it right back to Petracek. Inside 4 minutes to go. Don't see anybody on the Orlando bench with a 6th attacker jersey on yet, but got to be thinking pretty close to that once they get possession. But the Tropics doing a good job running clock here now. Petracek with a long ball in for Tavernese. Tavernese tries to turn, can't do it on Nascimento. And that'll be deflected out of play by Teixeira.
Certainly took some time off the clock. It was a nice exchange of possession. Working the ball into the target all the way back to Petracek.
Well, the Tropics ran about a good 2 minutes off the clock, basically possessing it almost that whole time. We do see the 6th attacker jersey coming out on the Orlando bench. They have not gone to it yet, but Sliwa will come up and kind of play a 6th attacker or a role here.
Well, if you're the Tropics, you've got to build a house. You've got to get in behind the ball because Sliwa's coming really, really high. Obviously, in the fourth quarter, keepers can now get past the halfway line.
Ball into Huffman. Huffman with a header, and Petracek again right there. Boy, has he been good. Can't wait to talk to him after the game tonight. He has been great. Here is Teixeira playing it ahead to Reggett. Zach Reggett. He will slow it down and play it back, and he's pushed, and the foul is called. against Yoshio Sandoval. Still no sixth attacker for Orlando, and I'm pretty surprised, although they haven't had a chance really yet to get him out there, but time is really starting to become a factor now. Here's the quick restart to Montoleros. He's got a ton of room. Tried to hit Reggett back post. Here's Manfoot. Manfoot to Reggett. Tried to play a little give and go off the boards with Manfoot. Didn't work, and Orlando still did not call timeout and still will not get the sixth attacker on. Don't understand that, Robbie.
No, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You're down 2 goals. There's only 2 minutes left in the game. You would anticipate putting a field player on.
Don't know who it is that has the sixth attacker jersey on the bench, but he's there. But the Tropics will say thank you. Is Peter Sliwa going to join the fray now? Act as the sixth attacker. There's a pass down low to Schmerman. Tried to get it in front to Naranjo. Couldn't find it. Here's Sandoval with it. Now Sliwa going to head to the Orlando bench, and the sixth attacker now on for the SeaWolves. 5-3 Florida. Final minute 48. Sandoval with it. Can the SeaWolves pull within a goal? Ruggles down low, cleared out of there by Montoleros. That will skip out of play.
Good clearance from Montoleros. You got to build a house, squeeze the middle, force everything wide.
Schmerman on to Sandoval. Huffman tried to get it in front. Claire with an opportunity ahead of the field. Claire with the open net. Claire with a shot. It's off the post. And there will be a blue card called here against Orlando. And that means the Tropics will get a shootout opportunity, I'm sure, because there was nobody back.
A nice transition moment from Matt Clare. Shows his strength. This is a wide open net.
Can't
but
believe
gets
that
the
he
blue
did.
card.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a great blue card because you've got 1:14 left on the clock.
And they may have called the contact in the box, maybe a penalty kick. The shootout would come from the yellow line, a 1v1 against the goalie. Penalty kick comes from the dot right outside the top of the penalty box.
Well, it should be a shootout. Last
yeah, it may
man.
have come outside the box.
Yeah.
But impeded is the last man into the goal. There was no defender obviously there. So it will be a shootout opportunity, and Victor Pereira will get it. He had one in Orlando that he converted in the second game of the season. This would probably be enough to put it away with just 1:14 to go. One-on-one against Peter Sliwa. Here we go. Waiting for the whistle. The other field players lined up at the center circle. They will all charge in once Pereiras moves forward. Here's the push forward, the shot. Oh, and it hits the post. So Orlando still with an opportunity here as Pereiras making a bid for the hat trick. Hits one off the woodwork. Here's Pereiras again. Pereiras coming in, shot. That's blocked by Schmerman. But Carvalho will pick it up in the Tropics, and Carvalho says, hey guys, let's just settle it down. Good idea by Ricardo here. All the way back to Petracek. Claire back to Brett. Petracek, a little confusion there and a lookout. Oh, and boy, an opportunity there for Sandoval. Carvalho can't keep it afloat. Here's Nascimento off the boards with a shot. Comes back out. Claire will head it ahead to Carvalho. Carvalho will slow it down one more time with 30 seconds to go. And this should be enough to run out the clock here, as Orlando has put up a very good fight, but looks like they will drop their fourth of the season. Here's Claire coming back. Gets it down to Tavernese now. Tavernese on top to Carvalho. Down to Victor. Back to Carvalho with a shot, and Sliwa makes a nice diving save there as it goes out of play with just 6 seconds to go. They forgot to stop the clock, so a bunch of time actually ran off the clock, and I don't think it will really matter, but we'll see if the fourth official wants to rectify that. I guess they will not. Comes back out to Pereiras, leaves it off to Ruggles, and Ruggles will go to the top of the box. Shot save, and time is out. I don't know if they're going to count it as a goal or not. It won't matter. I think Ricardo Carvalho will get credit for it. If it counts, it actually should, because they let about 8 or 9 seconds run off the clock when the ball went out of play. They didn't put any time back on the clock, so I don't know if it's a 5-3 final or a 6-3 final. I think they're going to say 6-3. Doesn't really matter, as the Tropics win it here tonight to set a new franchise record for most consecutive wins. They had won 3 in a row a couple of times in their prior history, never 4 in a row, but they have done it here tonight at the RP Funding Center rather. And we're going to say it's by a final score of 6-3. They're still discussing with the SeaWolves whether or not to count it. Carvalho, if it does, his second of the game and his 5th of the season, and looks like there may be a couple of cards issued here as well on the late discussion. But regardless, the Tropics come home winners in their home opener here this evening. 6-3 the final over their rival, the Orlando SeaWolves. And not a spectacular effort, Robbie, but all in all, after that first quarter, I think the Tropics, for the most part, played the game they wanted to play, and did, especially in that second half, step up the tempo, step up the pace, and out-talented Orlando, I think, in the end, might be the way to put it.
Yeah, I think they had a little bit more mustard in the final third in the second half. First half, for me, SeaWolves dictated tempo. Second half, Tropics regrouped, went into halftime, talked about a few adjustments, came out really with just a little bit more energy and enthusiasm, and I think that put them over the edge. But for me, you know, Brett Petrusek, the signing last night, is the star of the game for the Tropics.
He was incredible, and I don't think anyone in their right mind could have said tonight that Brett Petrusek would be the reason that the Tropics won this soccer game. They were, I'm sure, expecting him to play reasonably well and keep them in the game and put them in position to win, but he really was a difference maker between the pipes here tonight. And going forward, Brett himself has to have a lot of confidence, but the team in front of him now knows how good he can be, and they've got to have a lot of confidence in him, which is also significant.
No, I think that bodes well for everyone, having a keeper that can come in with really no training at all with the team, and to play at such a level that he played at is a credit to not only him, but the confidence that Clay Robert instills in him.
As the Orlando SeaWolves and Florida Tropics salute the fans on the way out of the RP Funding Center here this evening, a big opening night crowd treated to what turns out to be a 6-3 win as Ricardo Carvalho converts at the buzzer. A big night for Victor Pereras as well. It really kind of got the Tropics kick-started. Robbie, you know Victor, you played with him here in Florida, and he really, I think, sometimes gets a little overshadowed with, you know, you bring in Gordy Gerson and you bring in Carvalho and you bring in Tavernisi. And the fact is, the core players that are back, guys especially like Victor Pereras, Teixeira, Manoleras, they matter. And Victor matters maybe more than anyone on the roster with his leadership and his skills and the way he played tonight. If Brett Petrusek isn't the man of the match, Victor Pereras is. No,
certainly. If there's a 3-star, you've got Petrusek as the number 1 star, and you've got Victor Perez as the number 2 star, and then you can kind of throw anyone as the number 3. But I think you said it best. You've got both Lucases. Both Lucases had a great game tonight, and then of course Victor. The veterans really stepped in like they should.
As we take a look at Victor Pereras with his first goal of the game, and that really got the Tropics started. So the final here tonight in Lakeland, the Florida Tropics 5-6 rather, and the Orlando SeaWolves 3. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Saturday at 5 for more Florida Tropics soccer on Great 38. Have a great weekend, everybody.